The Padres keep making moves, filling roster gaps, and look good, not just this season, but into next season. We got to talk about what AJ Cassavell wrote in his latest article. What's going on, everybody? Christian Pedersen back with another episode of Padres Digest. Thank you very much for tuning into the show. If you want to hit the subscribe button, it would be much appreciated. If you want to leave a comment on anything, it would also be much appreciated. Not just this video related, or tell me anything you want to see a Padres video on, because like today, we don't take off days even when the Padres do. I want to talk about a couple of different moves the Padres have made. Like I said, I want to talk about that AJ Cassavell article. You saw Freddie Fermin at the beginning. We will get to him in a second, but while we were on the topic of catchers, Padres made a minor league acquisition and picked up the best indie ball catcher, Christopher Sargent here. There's a lot to there's maybe not a lot to unpack, but there is nothing to unpack for this guy right here. Sargent had a fantastic college career, playing in the super regionals, he was a first baseman and a catcher at Southern Mississippi. He had a fantastic college career. He goes undrafted before heading into his pro career where he went into indie ball, signing with the Ogden, Utah team, and there are his numbers. Padres signed him to a Double-A contract in San Antonio, and game one out the gate went fantastic for him. Kid can hit the ball. That's why they go get him. So what does he do in his first outing for the Padres in Double-A San Antonio? He hits a home run. Why am I bringing this up? Well, partially, like I said, it's an off day for the Padres, so it's a little bit of a slower news day. But I bring this up because AJ Cassavell's most recent article, and this is where we'll tie this all together. He was talking about how the Padres have really made two great moves this season to plug not just holes for this year, but holes for next year. And that's Ramon Laureano out in left field. I think my thoughts on him are unequivocally stated that he is one of the best acquisitions the Padres have ever made. I love that guy. But also Freddie Fermin, the catcher, who is under team control for quite a while. Both of those guys cumulatively have fixed left field and catcher holes this year for the Padres, but it's the duration to which they are under control. Here's Fermin's contract. So he is older. He is 30 this season, but we have him under control for quite some time. So he is, if there has ever been a bridge quarterback to get us to the next, franchise face of the franchise superstar catcher or something a la that, it would be Freddie Fermin. So Fermin being locked up this long and AJ Cassavell talking about that, it got me curious about really thinking, how do I value catching prospects? How do I value prospects anymore in the minor league system of AJ Preller, given that he dealt away one of the two guys in LDV this year that I think we had all, maybe not universally, but a majority of you guys in the comment section were saying he is untouchable. He's unmovable. He is a guy that we don't want to see in another uniform. AJ Preller did not mind seeing him in another uniform. So Ethan Salas being the top catching prospect in baseball, the top catching prospect in our organization, the top prospect in our organization as a catcher, I love that, but I am less hooked on that being the solution to catching than I have ever been before, given that we have Fermin for a couple years, and we have a general manager that has no allegiance, loyalty, or love to holding on to internal projects and prospects. So, that got me kind of thinking there of taking stock in the minor leagues as the Padres add another guy into the minor league system who's a catcher. This one is a catcher who hypothetically, year and a half out of college, is hitting the ball really well at a pro level. I will be curious how you guys rank and value indie ball, quote unquote, in terms of I get that it's definitely not AAA. It's definitely not the majors. It's definitely not high school ball, though. Like, where do you guys place value on those stats? Because those stats for Sargent are incredibly impressive. I will remind you again. Guys hitting really, really well at that level of baseball. Granted, like I get it. Like, I want to have the conversation about is that level of baseball commensurately equal with everything? I get it. It might not be, but adding a power catcher into the ranks of guys that might come up to be, maybe it's Fermin's backup. I don't know. Just it got me thinking. And it was kind of interesting, and it was an addition that the Padres have added into the mix, and so bringing that to you guys. The other one to talk about was Ramon Laureano. That was the other name brought up in AJ Casavel's most recent article. Show you his contract status. $6.5 million club option next year. Do you take that or no? I didn't need to wait that long for your answer. Hell yeah is the answer to that. So that's our left fielder and that's our catcher for next year. Like, the Padres went from having uncertainty at two positions this year to having both of those positions answered this year and answered next year. Now, we got to have the conversation probably long-term about what Laureano's really worth. Is he 4 years, $25 million, or 6 years, $125 billion, like something in between? Who knows? There could be work stoppage between here and there. I'm not going to get into the weeds on that. But AJ Casavel brings up some really good points in saying that with these two guys locked up, the Padres are really in a situation right now where they're down to kind of singular issues of they need a DH. They're going to have to do, like, O'Hearn and Arraez are both going to be free agents, and there's going to be some pitching issues. But really, it feels like a lot of the offensive options are all, I'm happy in the whole outfield. Cronenworth could bounce back. That would be nice next year. But Cronenworth, Xander, Manny, Freddie Fermin behind the dish kind of leaves me all, like, very happy with that. I think that you can still bring back Sheets to be a nice DH piece at some sort of bargain cost. And then the question, then you got to fill out the rest of the roster with someone's got to play first or DH to split with Sheets there. We'll see. I think there's excuse me for a second. Apologies, making a lot of content today, but I think there's a growing market of agreeing or disagreeing with Arraez being that fix. I think O'Hearn would be interesting. I don't know where the market sits entirely on either of those guys, but that's where we are at. That's where I will leave you. Thank you guys for tuning into another episode. Talk to you soon.